Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Catchin' a Vibe, episode 2. Glad to have you back. If you did not watch the first one, go watch the first one. I mean, it's not going to be a whole lot of use to you now. Pretty much all this is just a simple main card breakdown. This week, honestly, won't be too much. I feel like a lot of these fights are pretty straightforward, and a lot of them are just going to have to kind of wait and see what happens. Last pay-per-view, I was able to get 11 out of 14 right, so pretty good percentage, I would say. Definitely thought that Weili was going to be a bit bigger. I was definitely not expecting the size difference that there was between Weili and Valentina. That definitely surprised me. So the size definitely just got to Weili, and it happens. You know, weight classes for a reason. So funny enough, if you go back in my breakdown for Catchin' a Vibe number 1, I did say that Morales and Brady was a 50-50 fight, and I had actually picked. I think I picked Brady in that video. But on my Twitter post, I'd actually picked Morales. And so up to you whether or not that cancels out or whatever. But to me, I'm going to count it right because I thought it was a 50-50 fight. Could have gone either way. I was just kind of surprised Brady didn't shoot at all in that fight. And I know that Morales' stance is kind of awkward and his hips are really far back and everything. Ready for that takedown for sure. But yeah, I was just kind of surprised Brady didn't shoot. And then BSD's power just really got to Beneil. Not too surprised. I mean, Beneil's been kind of chinny lately, past couple of years, I would say. And yeah, props to BSD for winning in 16 fucking seconds. Like, goddamn. Prades looked good. Leon looked really good in that first round. You know, came out with the grappling and looked decent, and then just kind of fell into Prades' game. Thought that he could really strike with him and keep it on the feet like that, and Prades showed him what's up. And then, obviously, we had Islam in the main event just absolutely dominate JDM. It was kind of crazy seeing the look on JDM's face going into that 5th round. Yeah, it'll be interesting kind of seeing where Islam goes next and who he fights next. I would like to see Morales be next out of all the contenders. I know that Usman's been in a big talk right now, but I wouldn't like to see it. It doesn't make any sense for me. Anyways, let's get into UFC 323, Merab and Jan 2. I am super pumped for this whole card. This whole card's pretty good. But again, we're just going to be kind of breaking down the main card right now. There are a few fights I do want to point out in the prelims that I think are going to be worth watching. And especially if you want to kind of keep up with the sport and kind of keep up with where the division's going. Edson Barboza and Jalin Turner is a big one. Definitely recommend watching that for the return of Jalin Turner. Always curious to see on how fighters come back after retirement. And the unique thing with his, though, is that he's not old. He just kind of retired due to, I feel like it was a combination of a burnout and not wanting to be as aggressive just because of what happened to Bobby Green. The thing that you saw affect Jalin Turner, obviously, was, you know, as soon as like he knocked down Moicano, he just kind of wanted the fight to be over and wanted to call it and for it to be kind of a walk-off KO. Now, whether or not that was for opticals or if that was actually for like a PTSD kind of moment, and not wanting to inflict that kind of damage on someone again, then, you know, that's up for the individual to decide. But only Turner knows what happens. And I think it's good he's coming back. I think he's good he took that time off and kind of said he was done. And hopefully we can see him get back in the win column. You know, as much as I like Edson Barboza, I think it's kind of useless for someone like him to kind of win. I know that's kind of harsh to say, but, you know, the division of the sport doesn't really gain anything from Barboza winning at this stage in his career. And I personally hope this is his last one. He's not looking too good recently anyways. Coming back up to lightweight, you know, I think is a good move. But yeah, I got Jalin Turner winning that one. Definitely keep an eye out on that one, though. It's going to be a good one. Actually, funny enough, all three of these fights that I'm going to mention are actually in the lightweight division. Another big fight, though, that I do want to point out in the prelims is the prelim co-headliner, and that is Terrance McKinney versus Chris Duncan. I do think that it could be a really tough fight for McKinney. He does have that first round power and that first round explosiveness to where it could really cause a problem for Duncan. But at the same time, I do think that Duncan has been through quite enough now to where he can deal with some adversity easier than what he has in the past. Again, his grappling is top notch. Be really interesting to kind of see just where that fight goes and how the first minute and a half goes. I mean, that fight really could be over that quick, just with McKinney's power. We've seen it time and time again to where McKinney either gets finished or finishes in the first round. So I could see a decision in this one with Duncan kind of wrestling his way out of that first round and then just taking control of the fight. Or again, I could see McKinney ending it very early, just catching Duncan with something solid and ending his night. I'm probably going to go Chris Duncan on this one. As much as I like McKinney, I do think that Duncan, we've seen McKinney kind of get to those levels. And he could easily catch Duncan. I mean, it's a tough fight with McKinney. It's tough to bet on him and bet against him. Only because, again, you just kind of never know what's going to happen with this fight. I'm going to go Chris Duncan, a decision. But I wouldn't mind McKinney, getting another finish in that one. Prelim headliner, Grant Dawson and Manuel Torres. Solid fight. I do think that it is interesting. Manuel is saying that he wants to test his ground game against someone like Grant Dawson. Ballsy move, in my opinion. But I do think he's saying that so that Grant is almost encouraged to shoot. And I think he could catch Grant with something big, like a knee coming in. We've seen Grant get hit and not take it that well. Bobby Green's the clearest example of that. Manuel Torres is a solid striker, and Dawson isn't necessarily the greatest striker to kind of go toe-to-toe with Torres. For Torres, again, to be kind of entertaining the grappling and stuff, I think it's inviting. It's kind of a mind game of inviting Dawson to shoot early and to try to take it to the ground. I think, again, he's trying to catch him with something while he's coming in, which, again, I mean, it's a big kind of like you have to time it just right sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tough fight to call because, I mean, they're both high-level guys. It's definitely the future of the division. If you guys want to kind of see on where the division is going, Grant Dawson and Manuel Torres and Chris Duncan. I said Chris Dawson? Grant Dawson. Manuel Torres, Chris Duncan are prospects that you guys should probably watch if you want to see where the division, lightweight division, is going to be going. Yeah, great prelim headliner though. Honestly, I'm probably going to go Torres. I think Dawson could just get caught with something. It could be a wrestled fuck to decision by Dawson, but I think Torres could catch him something. All right, and then heading on to our main card, we have Jan Blachowicz, our former champ, going up against Bogdan Guskov. We saw Bogdan lose in his debut against Uzdemir, and it was a sub in the first round. I do think that Jan has the ground game to get it there and to implement a ground game to where Guskov doesn't have a whole lot to do. And it could just be kind of a repeat of the Uzdemir fight. Guskov has looked great in the stand-up, and I do think in the stand-up, it favors him compared to Jan. I know Jan's faced some really high-level strikers recently, even with Olberg and facing Adesanya back then and ending being the first guy to beat him in MMA. It's a tough fight to call because Jan, I've heard a lot of stuff about Jan saying that he looks old and stuff like that, and he isn't quite the same, and he's been losing recently. And I think some of those fights recently have been closer than people kind of give credit for Jan. And I think there's a chance for him to win this fight against Guskov. Like, I'm not doubting him at all, but I think Guskov has probably learned from that Uzdemir fight and is ready to kind of get into that top of the division. And I mean, if he beats Jan, he's one more fight away from probably a title fight, just with how light heavyweight's going. I'm going to say Guskov, probably a decision. I feel bad for Jan, man. I'm a Jan Blachowicz fan for sure, but I think it's just kind of one of those things that the UFC is trying to use him in the best way they can, and that's getting a name value out of him as a former champ. Yeah, I got Guskov, probably a decision. I could see it being a close fight, though. Next up, we have Henry Cejudo and Payton Talbott. I'm pretty interested in this one, especially with the craftiness that Cejudo could bring to this fight with the wrestling. He has the Olympic-level wrestling. The problem is that his youth isn't there anymore, and so it's harder for him to explode. It's hard for him to keep in control, especially if someone that big like Talbott, like that's going to be tough, man. I think Talbott's learned also enough from his previous loss from Barcelos, and even in the previous fight that he just had. I think he performed great on the ground, knowing kind of where he was a bit better and how to use his weight and momentum a bit better as well. Again, I think Henry Cejudo's size is going to really be a disadvantage here for him. He could easily get on those single legs and take Talbott down, but I think even then, I think Henry's body has just been through so much now. It'll be damn near the same amount of energy for Payton to get up and get taken down over and over again. And Cejudo could win that way, just kind of really taking him down over and over and over again. I mean, we've heard time and time again that the power that Payton just has is something else. I think that power could do something pretty bad to Cejudo. This is kind of just a really bad matchup for him with the size that Payton has and the power that Payton has. Tough way to end your career for Cejudo. And again, I wish he never retired back during COVID. I think he should have stayed in the sport. But that's a conversation for a different day. Yeah, I got Talbott. I don't know if he's going to finish it. I just think he's going to be able to inflict enough damage to win these rounds. And it's just going to be a long night for Cejudo, I think. Next up, we have Brandon Moreno and Taira. I always forget how to say his first name, so don't make fun of me, please. I'm pretty interested in this one because we've seen Taira go up against high-level guys like Brandon Royval. Did great. I thought he won it initially. A super close fight, though. I think it's one of those things that could just go either way. You know, we saw Moreno look pretty good against Albazi. I don't know, man. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to kind of see where the stand-up is. I think the grappling is going to be really fun to watch. Grappling is going to be a lot of fun to watch because those guys are both going to be able to roll. It's going to really depend on how I think Brandon is choosing to defend. I mean, because again, like if it's in the stand-up and he's not too worried about the grappling, I think it could be a tough fight for Taira. But I want to say the vet's going to have it in this one. I think Moreno is going to be ready for everything that comes on the ground, and he's already better on the feet. I wouldn't say by like a long shot, but he definitely is better on the feet. Taira can set up some stuff really nice. Again, I think the vet's going to have it in this one. So I'm going to go Brandon Moreno, probably the decision. I don't know what they do with him next, even if he wins this one. And then in the co-main event, we have Pantoja versus Van. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this, honestly. I feel like a lot of people are agreeing on this about Pantoja just probably being able to strangle him within 2 rounds, if not 3. The youth and him knowing that like he has a chance to get back there. This isn't going to be his only shot. He's not a retiring fighter that has to make the most out of this fight. I think for him to have the mentality to go in there and be able to kind of just be himself, do his game, and just try to counter Pantoja the best he can, you know, I think that gives him a better shot than some people are giving him. But at the same time, I do think that Pantoja is just going to be able to put on so much pressure where Van's going to be overwhelmed and not quite know what to do and can't quite handle it the way that he's probably thinking he can. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a really close fight, and I really hope it's entertaining, and I hope that Van can really, really, really give him some trouble. But yeah, I think Pantoja just wins this with a sub within the first 2 rounds. But in the main event, we have Merab and Jan. So I'm going to pick Merab in this one. I mean, I think a decision is the easiest way to call this one. We've already seen this fight. Jan said that he had 1 arm in the last fight. I don't know how much that's really going to help him if he has 2. Even if he has 3, I think just the cardio and the pressure of Merab is just going to drown him just like it did last time. And Merab being able to shoot 49 takedowns in 25 minutes on someone like Petr Yan and been looking better since then too is just insane. I mean, he damn near finished Corey on the feet. He choked out O'Malley. I think Merab's just a tough matchup for everybody in a division that exists right now. And I think Jan is just going to have to kind of go through it again. I think it's just going to be another dominant decision. I can see Jan squeezing it around here and there, but I don't think that it's going to be close. And this is Catchin a Vibe number 2, covering UFC 323. So yeah, check out our last episode of our podcast if you can. We would really appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you for the new year. Next time we'll do one of these is for the first Paramount card, Gaethje and Patty. Super pumped about that card. Super pumped about the Paramount deal. Be sure to check in with us at that time. We're going to be having lots of content come out during these 6 weeks that we're off. Definitely enjoyed this last pay-per-view that we ever have with the UFC. Enjoyed the last big card of the year, I should say, as well. We hit it again, brand new year. So catch y'all next time. Appreciate y'all watching. Again, like and subscribe if y'all can, and I'll catch y'all next time.